Legacy of Wisdom is a non-profit project, building a vision of best practices for living and fulfilling life's potential.
Thank you very much. So, Jane, let me ask you, also to introduce yourself in the context of a question I want to ask, which is, I think, Western society and more global society too is seeking out what it thinks is going to make us happy and fulfilled, which is a successful career. You had an outstanding career, not only in movies and in business. You had fame, of course, of your own, from your family. You had money. You had outstanding beauty. You're still, I think, very beautiful at this time. So all of these things that give power in our society and that are so desired and admired, and that somehow promise that if only we would get more of those, it would fulfill our life. And I think what's extraordinary about you is that you have extensively spoken about also your suffering and your challenges, and that you are working with psychological and spiritual practices to find something that is really more important, more fundamental to bring fulfillment, that includes also relationships, that includes real service to people in need. So I wonder if you could say something as an introduction about your life in that context.
All those good things that you mentioned, power and money and celebrity and success, and all of those are wonderful. Yeah. I don't want to pretend that they're not. It beats a kick in the ass. But no, going through it, I knew and have always known that it didn't make me happy. It made me relieved, but it didn't make me happy. And I am my father's daughter. And my father didn't talk a lot. But he didn't need to, because he made these movies like Grapes of Wrath, like 12 Angry Men, like the Oxbow Incident. And I knew as a child that these were the characters that he wanted to embody. And since I adored him, somehow that got into my own DNA. And that's the only thing that I can figure out why I wasn't just satisfied with those other good things. I don't know which of my two girlfriends said this at a retreat that we had at the Upaya Zen Center, that it's wisdom isn't just having a lot of experiences accumulate, it's reflecting on the experiences. And of course, when you're young, you're doing, you're not reflecting. It took me a long time to begin reflect. And when I began to reflect, which was basically because I was searching for happiness, I realized that when I was a child, that there was a wisdom. I was embodied. And when you're embodied, there is a wisdom, no matter how old you are. And then, like perhaps the majority of women, when I reached adolescence, I lost my wisdom. I didn't lose it, it went underground. It lived on the fringes. Other people could see it. Sometimes they would talk to me as though I had wisdom, and I would be thinking, who are they? Who? Couldn't be me they're talking to. And so for me, and I think for a lot of females, the challenge is to loop back around to recapture what we had as young girls, which I am beginning to do. It started at age 62, and that was quite a while ago. because I've been able to reflect. I mean, there is no agreement on when wisdom begins or even what it is, but I do know that part of it has to do with knowing what you don't need anymore and letting it go. And it's hard to do that when you're young, because you're not sure what you might need. Your future is ahead of you, and so you need to hold on to everything, and you get cluttered. And as you get older, you know what you don't need, and so you can let it go, and things become simpler. You have more time to reflect. And then, as from my experiences, I feel weird being up here, to tell you the truth, because I feel so much a work in progress. Well, I guess we all do. I mean, I figured it'll be that way until the next evolution. I mean, I've been a stone, I've been a plant. I'm part way through the human, and an animal. I've been an animal, a bear, but, anyway, there's still time. But one of the reasons that I know that I'm getting a little bit of wisdom dusting over me is because I purposefully put myself in the path of women like these two women. And, one finds that you seek out situations where you will meet wise people, and then you learn from them, ideally in the flesh, but also in the written word, both of which I have been gifted from my girlfriends. I know the moment that I began to realize wisdom was potentially going to be something that I could have within me. And it was a moment when, through a great deal of pain, I suddenly realized that I was becoming embodied again. I was 62 years old. And this question of being embodied, alienation from our bodies is so common among women, and it happens, as I said, around adolescence. And you kind of have to work at it. Self-acceptance, health, fitness. This is not just a question of vanity, this fitness thing. Now, I didn't know that at the beginning, but I have learned it over the years somatically, and my friend Joan has given words to it, which maybe we'll talk about later. But if one can, as a woman, move back into yourself, then wisdom becomes possible, authenticity becomes possible. You can't really be wise until you're authentic. And what that also means is that you have to be in authentic relationships. Many of us have spent many years of our lives in relationships that we thought were where we were supposed to be that weren't authentic. And you can't be wise if you're trying to make yourself fit into an inauthentic area. And so, that's about where I am now.